Hi everybody. So it's always funny to talk about this subject that is commonly called non-duality, but that's not what really appears here. That's just a word, a description. I guess there's seemingly a lot of, there can be a lot of confusion when there's a seeker, especially nowadays with the internet and YouTube and all the media potentials. We can get bombarded with all sorts of people telling us that they know and that they've got something to give you or to sell you. And this is the end of all of that. Because it gets realized that you don't know. I don't know what this is. As it's the end of the me, the end of the self. It is that self, that me is the knowing, which in essence I could say is an assumption. All sorts of beliefs, thoughts that multiple thoughts seem to coagulate into a belief, and if we examine it, we can see that it has no actual reality. So we find ourselves in a way with an accumulation of data or information from a variety of sources. Growing up in this world, our parents, teachers, friends, family are constantly telling us how to be, what to do. And now there's a massive movement of spiritual teachers that will also tell you what to do and how to be. And this here can only say, how is that possible? What can tell you how you should be? Isn't it just natural to be what you are? To not need anybody to tell you how to be? I'll even go as far as saying, how dare you tell me how to be? Who the fuck are you to tell any being how they should be? And to see the freedom in that. We're all quirky. We all have preferences, and they vary in every single way. And the paradox is that the more we're just ourselves, the more we just don't could say in a soft way that we don't care, because it just seen that it just doesn't matter. This body will walk this earth, and then it will collapse, and that's it. So it just isn't important. It's not special, and it can just be the way it is. So on this, when there's a seeker, it is an energy that is very that's incessant, and that's just the way it is. But in that, there can be a tendency to, because it is seeking, it is looking, so looking for, in essence, advice and for people to tell us what we should do and how we should do it. And in that is born this idea of a spiritual ladder, a hierarchy, a way to get from here to this apparent place that we might call awakening or enlightenment or whatever. Life is appearing right, I can't even say right here, right now. It's just, there is no now, there is no present moment, this. So we can, there's no problem with anything. So Eckhart Tolle, for example, talks about being present. And present is a word that's used in reflection to time, past, present, future. So it's being very light with the word, understanding that because people are often mixed up in the past and the future, to bring them to the present is just a pointing, but that also has to be let go of, because the present, this, whatever this is, which I don't know what it is, I have no idea. There was once, I could say, a apparent knowing or thinking that I knew, and then that got seen through, that it was all just mental construct, assumptions, borrowed knowing, borrowed information. So the more we just become what we are, act the way we are, become natural, that's enough. And in that there's an ease, which ease is that absolute peace, that it's okay this way, that you're perfectly fine the way you are. And we can use words like, this is God's will, this right here is our karma. All these words, because they're words, can have interpretations and definitions, and they all just disappear. So I can talk about them, I can explain them, just for the fun of it. So you could say, as far as God's will, if God wanted this to be any other way, it would be a different way, but it's this. So what's wrong with it? What is suggesting that this is not right? That this shouldn't be the way it is? And the word karma is often misinterpreted as being a sort of a form of punishment, as if, oh, you get your karma. But we are always experiencing karma. And it's beyond our understanding of the physical mind. I don't even know what a mind is, because there is no actual mind. and whatever karma is being experienced. For example, I live alone. I spend most of my time alone. Now the me, the self, in a way is searching for always something else. So it might, in a way, it's like an analysis, and it can say, well, I don't want to be alone, I want to be with a partner, I want to be with other people. And so there can be there's a movement, and that's what we're pointing at here, is that the seeker is always moving, and what we are is the absolute stillness, with movement just happening. And whereas when we settle into that stillness, it's just observing that being alone, as an example, is the perfect karma in order to explore expansion, because I don't have any hindrances, demands from other people. If I had children around me every day, then I'd have to attend to the children. If I had a partner, I'd have to attend to the partner, their needs, and that's perfectly fine if that's happening. But if we find ourselves alone, then that is a possibility to explore the expansion of consciousness or awareness, delve deeper into exploring what is this, because when we really discover that we don't know what this is, then it's a curiosity of what is this, where can this go, is there a limit to it? And it really is the gateless gate or the pathless path. Nobody can tell you how it will unfold for you. There are similarities, but it will always be unique to you. Some will awaken into the nothingness, but there still be a sense of a person experiencing nothingness. Some will have the nothingness and then the fullness. There can be Kundalini awakening, chakras opening, heart opening, and in essence there can be this yearning for I want more, I want something else, but it won't unfold the way anybody else's unfolds it, and there's no way of predicting how awakenings may occur, but it's always this, it's always appearing, whatever's appearing as this. And it's letting, in a way, that everything melts, seeing what is reaching and just letting it melt, feeling and seeing the discomfort and letting it melt. And it can be, I think it's the hardest thing that anybody can possibly go through. There are some people that seem to just pop open, and that's how unique this can be. But for many, this will be quite an arduous sort of experience. And that being said, it's always this. So I can say this in a story form. So what I've experienced here is that it's seemingly, so again, this is story, that if God wants to strengthen you, fortify you, give you wisdom and courage, He's not just going to go, zap, here you go, you've got it. You will experience hardship that will strengthen you. You will face experiences that will make courage grow. You will face fears so that they can be seen through. And it doesn't matter if these are so-called external or internal, because there is no internal and external. It's whatever appears. In a way, there's an energy about it, and until there's just peace and non-resistance to anything that can arise, then there may still be a desire to be somewhere else, to get somewhere else, in a way resisting and avoiding what is simply being. This is always so close. We are literally just in this ocean of God. Everything is God. So Jesus, for example, he spoke in words like seek for the heaven of God, and all else should be added upon you. And the way this is now understood is that when the stillness becomes apparent and we melt into that stillness, which is in a way first perceived as God, but then from that stillness, which is God, the allness is also God. But in a way, that's like in the 10 bulls, that's when we first realized that there is this silence. And so we're then going to seek and go melt into that stillness, and that stillness just envelops us, and there's nothing left. It takes everything. So we can say surrender, but everything is just given up. Everything's given, because it was all, it's energetic, but it's all constructs, it's all conceptual. So the real of this moment is all that's left, the very direct realness. So again, we can get confused with saying this is an illusion, although you could also, as much as you can say this is an illusion, you can say this is the only reality. And that's the paradox. It means the same thing. The seeking for heaven and all should be added upon you is not, for example, that once you find the kingdom of heaven, that you will get all the money in the world or all the material or possessions, that all that will be added upon you. As if I do this, then I will become rich, I will be rewarded. That's a carrot on the end of a stick. The allness that is discovered when we've, in a way, realized our true nature has always been the nothingness and the allness, is that all shall be added upon you, is that everything is you, that you're nowhere and everywhere, that every tree, every being, everything is you. you get everything. But you might have no possessions, but you get everything. And in that faith in God, we walk on this earth with a sense of safety, compassion, love, not because we have to, but because it's just our natural essence. It doesn't need to be forced. So in religious circles, it's often said, your faith can be tested. It's actually the other way around. You could say the faith towards God as if there's something to be faithful to God. That's suggesting a separation. Because God is all, God has never left us. Everything is God. So having faith in God is just walking in without fear. Where this idea of being tested, our faith being tested or tested by God, it's just that fear can arise, and if you just let that fear be, and you could say in words, be patient, it will become apparent that what you feared was just energy. And that, I'll give you an example of this. When I found myself without a pot to piss in, no money, no home, not many possessions, just a couple of bags. There was a moment where I had no food, had no money, and I didn't know anything, what will happen, and a fear arose that, oh no, I'm not going to be able to eat. And then there was an immediate knowing, well, I don't actually know that. So the fear is there, but you can see the truth is I don't actually know. And just by, you could say, being patient, waiting, about half an hour later, I was given money by a friend and I was able to get food. And it came out of nowhere. So fear has the potentiality to break open our heart, because instead of always staying contained within, we open to the moment, we see that there might be a fear, but we don't actually know. And then with that openness, maybe we'll have to go and ask somebody for help. And this is creating connection, this is creating openness. And then, as God is everything, provision can come from any source. It might be another person, it might be a stranger, it might be somebody you know, it might be almost miraculous, it might be very simple, where somebody pays a debt that was a very old debt. It can come in a million different forms. But the more we are willing to just go towards, we open ourselves to the possibilities. But it's very, very simple. Nothing to go and shut on the rooftops. Just a very simple, humble flow. So yeah, this can be tough, because it can only pull you out of your comfort zone. It will pull you into places that you never imagined, and then it seemed that it was always okay. And in my experience, it's happened again and again and again and again, where the second time there's still oh God, this again, and then the third and the fourth and the fifth, but eventually, in a way, it just all neutralizes, and then you realize that you've gained incredible strength of faith, of not needing to know. And it's kind of like the Mr. Miyagi trick from the Karate Kid. You're constantly being taught things without even having the foggiest that you're being taught. And this is where we say that the more advanced you are, everything becomes your teacher. The teacher knows that he's always the student. And so not only is there no person here who knows, there's just what is arising. There's just no need to tell anybody how this can unfold, will unfold, should unfold. That's just somebody apparently there trying to prove that they have something, and that's a very, very different thing. And it's I can see that it's innocent. There's probably no true realizing that that's what's happening, no understanding, because the separation, the energy of separation. So some people call it ego, but in reality, I have no idea what that word means. I think ego is actually a very, very, very misguided word that has more potential to keep people in a weird fucking loop. And in all cases, it's only once things are gone that there's a realization that it was what it was. So this is just an emptying out, a complete emptying out of everything that's not true, everything that's not real, gets seen through by just simply being. It gets to a point where you just can't be anything but what you are. And you just don't give a shit anymore. And you just see the energy consumption of that illusion of separation, or that illusory self or me. It's a constant agitation, it's a constant movement, and it's born out of lack, it's born out of need, the feeling of not being connected, so it's, of course it will seek, of course it will run everywhere. It's basically living in a sort of a panic, and that is completely unconscious when it's there, because for all intents and purposes, it's all that life knows. It's apparently life for that being is that. So, I've had people say, "Oh, this is life," as in, you have to work and then you die. Well, yeah, because it's an unexamined life, unexamined mind, unexamined energy. So what will be, will be. And if that's happening, that's happening. I don't have to change anybody or save anybody or tell anybody how to be. It's all bullshit. The funny thing is, a lot of that energy will sometimes present itself and say, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And that I just find quite amusing. Another thing that's gone here is the need to even make people feel comfortable. And that can be quite a surprise to some, because this just being the way it is, I think sometimes the best guide or spiritual teacher you can possibly have is a cat or a dog. I find they teach much more than most of the words. The cat just is. It doesn't care how it's being perceived. It just does what it does. It will purr away, and then it might, try and scratch you if it's being irritated. It will run outside to go hunt or sleep for 10 hours in a straight. It's not concerned about, oh, you should go outside right now because it's really nice weather, or why don't you eat something, are you feeling, it's just none of it. And that's what closer to what we're talking about here, is that there's just the freedom to be however you are, no matter what. And the self dies when there's no more expectation for this to appear any other way. So I hope this helps in some way. It's my favorite thing to talk about, God and all of this, because it's just an infinite subject, really, and there's just a love for it, so I enjoy it. So I hope you do too. Have a beautiful day. Peace and love.